Jai Radha Maharaj dan Bhagavad Gita. Jai Radha Madhav Kunj Bihari His Divine Grace of Charnarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Bibli Founder Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Astottara Sata Shishimat. His Divine Grace of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मायापुर धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, तुलसी महारानी की जय, समावित भक्त Gaur Pramanand. Hari Hari. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. Glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, everyone. It's so wonderful to be at our wonderful friends Bhakta Oscar's home. And I'm so happy to see the whole family here. Very nice. So,
Prabhu, it isn't really my home, it's rather my mother and father's home. I just get to live here with them.
Nice, so nice that you bring me to the family. So we always see him, but now we see where all the bride things come from. Right here. And Dad is outside? Dad is coming?
Yeah, he's coming.
Yeah, right there. And both of them outside there. We see you coming, you come a couple times to the temple. So we can introduce the family members here, and she was saying Jai, Jai every time. Yeah, she's very smart kid. What's her name? What's her name? Victoria. Very nice. So, okay, you introduce yourself.
Yes.
And you?
I'm Alex.
Alex.
Oscar's sister.
Nice.
I'm Lydia. Welcome. It's Oscar's mom.
Yes. Cool. Then we have some guests. Gabby, and who are you? Who are you? Oscar. To Oscar. Who are you, Oscar?
Oh, I'm his niece.
Niece. Oh, good. And?
Say hi, Ellie. What's
Aliana. That's maybe you and your brother will say that. So, and there's also boy there.
That's my son, yes.
Oh, okay. So, very nice.
Yes, I have three.
Well, when I was Oscar invited us here, now we can feel how far he comes every Sunday. Oh, sometimes close at
This house is a temple.
Yes. And we went to see his altar. And that's it. Like, it's really nice. Very nice. Yeah. Family vibe, I can see the family things here. Why is the family going this side? Love and home and faith this side. The family. Yeah. No, what is that? So, today here we are with the wonderful science, spiritual teacher, His Holiness Vedavyasa Priya Maharaj, and he's blessing us to be with us in all of the for 2 days, and we've been taking him around and he's been giving some.
I come every year.
Every year comes. But this is the first time he comes here.
I have a US passport. I joined from New York. This is my god brother. We took initiation from Srila Prabhupada together. And this is my disciple. That is my disciple too. He's a local. But
Bobby Bhav, Praveen, and Balindra Kumar Prabhuji, Shadadri Devidasi, Fili Devidasi here, Manish Loy Paina, all people come from Loy. This is the new name.
one who was begot between the islands is called Fiji.
I'm originally from Fiji Island. Yeah, I know it. Okay, Fiji, what are you doing here? Yeah.
People fly to Fiji just to do surfing.
So I'll have to speak to a few words.
Prabhupada named as an international society for Krishna consciousness. So we should represent everywhere. Nobody will feel alienated from Krishna or his philosophy and the devotees who practice it. It's a great opportunity to come and speak about what Lord Shri Krishna is intending. Why we come together, even though we are born in the world which was created by him, sustained by him, and it will be dissolved eventually. It takes longer time, even beyond our lifetime. So, but everything is time dependent. So, Krishna gives the reason why we came into the material world. Even though we are spirit soul, part and parcel of the Supreme, yet we are confined into a material body. And how we can come together and perform the required activities which will take us back home where we came from. So this is called journey home. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the verse number 27 says, this is the knowledge of the Absolute. So we have to acknowledge our reality within the temporality of the material. So it says, Krishna says that Ichha Dvesa Samuttena Dvanda Mohena Bharata Sarva Bhutani Sammoham Sarge Amti Parankapa. O Scion of Bharat, O conqueror of the foes, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. Desire and hate. The real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. When one is deluded into separation from this pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by the illusory energy and cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pure devotees who are not deluded or contaminated by the desire and hate can understand that Lord Shri Krishna appears by his internal potencies, but those who are deluded by the duality and the Nisiyans think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is created by the material energies. This is their misfortune. Such deluded persons symptomatically dwell in dualities of dishonor and honor, miseries and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc., thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I am the master of this house, I am the husband of this wife. These are the dualities of delusion. Those who are so deluded by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What this means that we have knowledge of the external relationship of the bodies only. But they were not before. A time comes, people get married, have children, house, everything. They did not bring when they came, right? They create due to the temporary body and bodily afflictions. They try to help each other for the time being only. It's not an eternal fact that that Cinderella story that ever they live ever happily after. This is not going to be. So the actuality is to be taken and understand the temporality of the body. At the same time, the temporary situation is created by our ignorance of the reality that we are part and parcel of the Supreme Whole. There is no difference between a woman's soul and a man's soul, like that. How long can we live this kind of life? Animals also do, without knowledge. So, is the knowledge of the body more important than the knowledge of the soul that animates the body? What is more important? The divine energy called consciousness is a gift, and a human being can understand by discriminating intelligence that these bodies are temporary, and we cannot keep on lament and rejoice according to the results of our karma. Both are there, both we have to accept. But do we have to get attached with it and live a life? Even animals live. They produce their children. They have their societies. So what is the big difference between animalistic human society and the rest of the inferior animals? Ants have their society. The domestic animals, we respect their society, we try to keep them together. What's the big deal? But every body is a temporary. It is born, it grows, it becomes mature, produces byproduct, dwindles and disappears. 6 changes are there. But the real factor is that the element of hate which has been created by different desire becomes the pivotal problem. It's not that hate is born if somebody is not faithful to all this or that, because it's a direct conflict because of different desires. My desire will be different, as far as bodily conception is concerned. My desire is different than your desire, and the desires come in conflict. Sometimes we are trying to fulfill somebody's desire. Sometimes we are trying to fulfill somebody's desire, and we may not be able to get the required results even. Everything is dependent upon the path chalked out by the Supreme Lord who created this material world. And we are like puppets in the hands of 3 modes of material nature. If I'm of a, say, in the mode of goodness, my desires will be different. If somebody is in mode of passion, their desires will be different. When somebody is in mode of ignorance, their desire is different. But who is going to control those modes? And these modes are everywhere throughout the universe. There are multitude of universes. So it's a conflict of desires. That is called ichcha. Ichcha means desire. And dvesh means enmity. Everybody wants to compete directly, indirectly with each other. Only time being, as far as the necessity demands, we try to manage. But then we have to become subjugated by the results of it, and it will bind us. We'll be bound up by the results created by this duality of hate and love. Hate is compared to a different desire. If I have desire and I want to make it more predominant over your desire, then there's a conflict. So the world is of duality and giving conflict. So we try to make peace within the house. We try to unite specifically on one supreme object which will be governing our desires or controlling our desires. The easiest way to understand what is the Lord's desire. Easiest way is to understand what is the Lord's desire. When these desires are specifically written and conveyed, then we must try to practice and satisfy the Lord by faithfully executing the Lord's desire. Lord is asking, think of me. We put the Lord in our center, in order to balance it out. Otherwise there will be no unity. He is the only uniting factor, because Supreme Lord means as a soul is a fragmental part which is very insignificant. Yet, by the mercy of the Lord, we are given consciousness that is divine in nature. And that is there. But if we, by the influence of these modes of material nature, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, they dictate us and they make a dance in the hands of Prakriti, what they call. This is what Krishna is describing, that Ichha dvesa samuthena dvanda mohena bharata. Dvanda means duality, fighting, conflict is called dvanda, where two entities are involved. It's called dvanda. When there is a challenging game, there will be dvanda between the two parties as well as two individuals. This is called dvanda. Wrestling match, dvanda. Everything, everybody at the end of the match, he wants to become victorious. Means he will beat up with the hate so much, the other party, if he is weak, then he will be. But it's all temporary, because he will meet his challenger also. So in this way, the human society is going through the conflicts, conflicting nature. So, Sarva Bhutani means all the jivas, all the living entities are coming into the process of. And if we hate our Maker, whoever you may be, if we hate our Maker, then we are at a larger conflict. The conflict of ignorance versus knowledgeability. So, knowledge is powerful and can override the ignorance. It can make you realize, then you can approach for a permanent, even though in the temporary world it is available. So, Bhagavad Gita means the song of the Lord. The Lord wants to express his desires, that each and every being, whether they are of different categories. Krishna says, Samoham sarve bhute. As far as he is concerned, he will make it sama means equal. Na dveshti, na priyosi. There is nobody I have to hate, nor anybody is that dearer to me. because all are my part and parcels. Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samvita. That trick we have to accept and we should worship him. But ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya, he not to his devotees. Because they are exchanging the sentient feelings, giving up desire and hate, but only obedient to his activity. Like that. So, ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya te apite vichas. He doesn't have anybody to hate or anybody to appreciate, but those who are his devotees, he has a very soft corner for them, and nobody can enter into that jurisdiction to the Lord's desire. Nobody can interfere there. Krishna has choice. However one may be. But if he is inclined to understand my desire, however fallen he may be, api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananyava sadhureva hi samantavya. If he is to me, however abominable activities he might have performed, but if he is attached to me and trying to fulfill my desire, then you should consider him to be a very pious person, very advanced person. Kaunte pratijani. Why? Because he will have soon become righteous, and Arjun, you declare that my devotee will never perish. The soul is the devotee, not the body. The soul is the devotee because he is the part and parcel. The body is made up of inferior energy, material energy. It is a transient body. So, bodies come, bodies grow, body produces byproduct, and that dwindle and disappear. Krishna already set up that particular cycle of birth and death. But as far as living is concerned, we have to see what is Lord's desire. By my activities, my services, if he is pleased or not, then one can become devotee. Like that. So, Tesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvand mohar nirmukta bhajante mam dradavta. Very next verse, Krishna says that those whose antagatam papam, their contradictory activities have been terminated, exhausted. Antagatam papam, jananam punya karmanam, they turn towards beneficiary activities. Punya karmanam, which is befitting everybody, befitting it, and only those will become free from the duality of delusion. So then and then we will be able to worship him. Dhradavrata, with a very confirmed and very proven devotional service. So we can verify all these situations by understanding our past life, present life, and what do we want to make our future life. The sublime, and it is not an automatic process. So we have to develop the consciousness which is required to become in alignment with Krishna's consciousness. So Bhagavad Gita is a song of God. But at the same time, it was spoken at the beginning of the fratricidal war, when the Holocaust and other things are very puny. If you understand the kind of war that was taking place during his time, and he was mastermind. He wanted to eradicate those who are envious, then establish the righteous. That is an excuse, external excuse. But at the same time, the qualification of righteousness depends upon who is my devotee, who is abiding in me and try to please me. We have to make an effort to please the Lord. And there is a verification of it. So these two verses are complementary to each other. They nullify. Dvandva has to be removed. We are in the world of what they call at the age of extermination. War is going on, Russian, the Ukrainian, and it's already month and quarter. Even World War doesn't last long that much. The maximum period for the first two World Wars were hardly 3 months. But this is going on for almost 15 months. So we can't trust the happenings of the world. We want to live without fear and without any inconveniences, so we may be able to repose our attention to the absolute truth of what the Lord is telling. So these ideas are cultivated by a devotee. And he verifies that it should not become a blind belief. It should be verifiable. So there are standard processes of verifying it. Adav Shraddha. In the beginning there is faith. But the faith is generated by association. Tato sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha means association with the devotees, like-mindedness. So, atha bhajana kriya. Bhajana kriya means the practice of following the tenets of God-given laws. So Prabhupada came here and put a very lucid way to explain. In every religion, the cardinal principle is to obey the commandments of the Lord. Even the Islam has. But somehow the interpolation and the selfishness or the desire of men has entered into and topsy-turvy the purpose of the Lord's sake or instructing the humanity. So Prabhupada said we must chant the holy name of the Lord, because that potency is transcendental, because there is no difference between the holy name as the Lord. It is at the same stratum of transcendental nature. So when one chants, means one serves the holy name, means one serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He said, I have not come here to convert anybody. I can make a Christian a better Christian, a Muslim a better Muslim. Devoted to the commands of the Lord. Otherwise, we have been taking so much liberty and introducing and interjecting our desires being imposed on expressed desires of the Lord in the scriptures. So, anybody can chant anything, according to their conception. But make sure you verify your faith. Are you developing love of God or not? And love doesn't mean, the one we experience in the material world. That is not love. The heart-to-heart connection, because the Lord is sitting in our heart, guiding by providing that consciousness. Otherwise, consciousness is never developed in chemical reactions. Nobody is teaching that. Where does the consciousness comes? The soul receives the consciousness. But because of these two factors, hate and separate desire, which are inseparable, but there are two factors that creates duality. This is the world of duality. There's no uniformity in the material world. All the opposites are there. Even the soul, which is the energy of the Supreme Lord, it is said to be female in nature. Then we are still casting what is male and what is the female. In front of the Lord, both are equal. So like that, if we try to, think in parallel lines with what is being explicitly said, understand the nature of transcendence, then tesham antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridamita. Verification means we have to come with a conformity of what we have, put our faith on. If the faith has no conformity, it is not faith. So we are given opportunity to become intelligent, and verifiability has to be there. Without verifiability, it's simply a belief. So in science, we need to put ourselves on that, means the theme. If we need some apparatus, that will be required. Some conditions are there, that will be required. And then the procedure. The procedure is stepwise guidance. So scientifically, if we perform under bona fide demonstrator, then we'll get the same results. Otherwise, if we, take steps according to our desires, we will get different results. So verifiability will be there. And performance of this in our life, it has been expressed by that this is the pure devotional service is the secret of all secrets that pleases the Lord. And it has been called as the Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitramita Uttamam. It's the king of knowledge. The devotional service is the king of knowledge. And it is to be performed under the proper guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, the demonstrator. And then it has been said that avagamam means perform stepwise. Dharmyam susukham kartur avyayam. Dharmyam means the concept of the absolute is there, and to proceed in order to understand. So, whatever we gain is a permanent asset. There is no dominion, but it is also pleasant to be performed. Devotional service is such an activity, it is coming or springing from our heart, and we try to perform. What is the difference between, say, a voluntary work anywhere and devotional service, which is also voluntary, but for the pleasure of the Lord? What's the difference? One gives permanent results, other is not. So in this way, we try to enrich ourselves and become familiarized. It is not difficult. And everybody is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We are not separated by even religion. We are not separated even by, just like science is not separated by the nationalities, caste, creed, or science acts similarly. So, jnana vijnana sahitam yajnatva mokshasya. Both theoretical knowledge is there and practical knowledge is there. So therefore, the proper conviction is there and conformity about what we are progressing. Actually, this was the original practice which was done in India, how many, 5,000 years back. But the modernization of the education put that away. And everybody has to start as a beginner. Even from the back of their mind, they think, oh yeah, we know, but we never practiced. I was not born here, but when I came, I never thought that I have to, progress and conviction of my belief. The process was there already. So it's a fact that everybody who is ignorant about, and most of the, say 99.99% population of the whole world is ignorant about the reality because of these two factors. It's universal. And that is what promises that even the barriers of caste, creed, nationality does not apply in the transcendental, loving, devotional service to the Supreme Lord. You may call him any name. He has millions of names, even in our own literature. But as far as the field of loving activities, the attitude is only in Vrindavan. So the chief names are Krishna and Ram. Krishna means all attractive, Supreme Personality of Godhead. All right? There are two syllable, true and no. Of course, there are combined letters, but true means the crust or the supporting element. Ra means blissful element. Who supports us? What is the element that supports us? That's called life. All right? That's called life. But whatever is created in material world, whether they are mountains or rivers, but when we get purification, they also participate in the interactions with the Lord, just like mountains and rivers. The names are given to the rivers. The names are given to the mountains even. The nomenclature. The name is given to each and every living entity is an identity, but identity is relating ultimately to the Supreme Lord. Biblical names are given. Okay? So in Quran and even in Vedic religions, there are millions and trillions of names. But our identity is in relation to the Supreme Lord. So the name is not given to the body. Name is given to the soul. Why that name still remains the same, even the body changes. For mother is the same person, even though his body changes. Medical science say that every 7 years, all our cells, they are born, growing, and dying, producing new cells. Have you heard that? Every 7. So how many times you are going to reincarnate in your body if you live for 100 years? 14 times. You don't have to wait for another life to reincarnate. You are reincarnating right now. Children grow. It is the process that everybody goes through. So it's not a new thing. Oh, this soul has gone and now he is repeating and coming again. No. The change of the body is called reincarnation. Of course, at the time of death, you have to give up the old body because it's invalid, and all the elements, mostly earth, water, fire, air, ether, they mix up. This is the body is made up of fire, but the subtle body is mind, intelligence, and ego. They will not burn or they will not be disintegrated. It is carrying the soul, because soul never dies, is never born. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam. In the 2nd chapter, you will study this. The nature of the soul is eternal. It is being transported from one body to another. That's okay. Generally, one soul occupies one body. To fulfill his desires, an appropriate body is given by the arrangement of the Supreme Lord in the realm of creation, sustenance, and dissolution. There are 8.4 million species of life, and every life has a different desire. It's but natural that at the end of our life, whatever our desire is, we will retain the same body next life. So if we misuse the intellectual discrimination that is given into a human being, then if we think of living like a hog, what will become? Another life of a hog. Means we miss the opportunity. So in this way, we have to utilize the best of our time by understanding the reality. Nobody will be teaching you. No department in any university or any colleges or schools. Nobody is taught about our reality. It's only temporary. Is the education supposed to be temporary? Just for the sake of career development that reaches only to the stomach? University, uni students, what will be your career? We went yesterday. We didn't touch this part. Everybody is thinking I will become this way, but it is not perfection. Perfection is to be applied for our real being, that we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We have our original Swarup that we forgot, and we gave up that position by these two elements, a separate desire to lord it over, and it has been generated out of hate. Hate towards whom? Hate towards the Supreme Lord. A part and parcel is qualitatively one with the Lord, but is quantitatively different. So, if you are even though little, but you can express, oh, I have the same quality, so why do I need him? In Bible, it is the story of prodigal son that Jesus was talking about in parables. The prodigal son was thinking, I'm the only son of my father. Father, give me my share, I want to enjoy, I don't need you. And he goes, becomes bankrupt, because he doesn't know where to use all these assets that he inherits from the father. Then what? Somebody will come and say, oh, I know you, you are the son of your father. Your father is desperate, he is missing you. Why are you rotting in this kind of life? Your father is such a rich person. Why don't you go back to him? Oh, I am ashamed. I don't know how to go back. No, I will help you. So like that, it's a unification, but unless and until we are cleared out of our hate and executing different desires other than the Lord's desire. Whatever he has said, don't do this, it means it is his desire. And if we refrain from doing all those things which are forbidden, 10 commandments, give everything, and it says, John Milt was one of the very thoughtful person, celebrated in USA, probably it was in 1930s also, early. It says, no wonder, just as execute 10 commandments, we made thousands of laws to execute it. Only to execute 10 commandments, we ended up making several thousands of laws, and yet we are not able to execute. Prabhupada would quote these things. John Milt. So the idea is that we need to look into the closer about the desire of the Lord for ultimate benefit of all the souls who are drifted away from him because of these two factors. So therefore, by purificatory process, we can get rid of tesham antagatam papam. This has been so deep down in ourselves that it's not easy to uproot it. But then punya karmana, by acting in the directions that the Lord has given us, then they will become free from this duality of delusion. Ichha, dvesha, duality, they will become free from it. And then they will be able to worship me without hesitation. Dridavritta, with very confirmed activity. So this is what we call evolution of the consciousness of man. Man is not going to evolve further from the perfection of the human body, because this body is made in the image of the Lord. Krishna is to be two-handed. His expansions are 400 and 1,000 hands. So, in the original form of the, it is almost identical, but for a specific reason. But how this was developed, the human body, Homo sapiens, it is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that Brahma was ordained to create and populate the whole world. So, as a soul, mind, body, mind, intelligence and ego, the subtle body that they were existing during the time of dissolution, when they were to be given another chance to come in the bodily conception of life, Brahma created 10 different kinds of creations. The creationist theory in the Bible is also coming to a little bit identical situation. Some descriptions are different, but nonetheless, the Lord created, but here the Lord agent Brahma is creating, who was given the opportunity to perform the task on behalf of the Lord. As far as material bodies are concerned, Brahma was the first material body. So it was very powerful. So the subtle bodies were given appropriate bodies starting from single cell microorganisms all the way up to those who are under the grip of material nature and cannot exhibit their own desires separately. They are all up to the animals. 8 different kinds of creations are there. Number 9th is human being, and number 10th is the demigods and demons. So, demigods are supposed to be favorable in executing the maintenance of the material universe, and the demons are said to be opposite, destructive elements. But nonetheless, particular expression, a little science is involved. So it is said, Arvak strotratu navamam kshattam ekon vidhondranam rajo adhika karma para dukkhecha sukhmani. Number 9 is called Nara. Nara means human being. Okay? Arvak strotram means his stomach is upside down. His stomach is upside down. Is there anybody whose stomach is not upside down? All the human. The animals have their stomachs horizontal to the surface of earth. But we are opposite. We stood on 2 legs, so our stomach became upside down. Animals do not violate any rules, but the men are violating. How? Horizontal nature of the stomach means they don't eat more than necessary. They are satisfied because they are working on a survival situation. Okay? They don't kill even the other unnecessary, just for their prey and according to their nature. So there is no fault on their behalf. But this number 9th creation has stood on his two legs, so his stomach has become perpendicular. Rather, it means it is not going to satisfy. It's not going to satisfy. You try this. You give birds so much grain through, and they will come and take few, and they will not bother to finish everything. They are satisfied, they too can. But if you put the whole bag of rice, say, outside and send a human being, they will take the whole bag away. Right? That means greed is there. No. So it means they are not going to be satisfied. They'll be always craving. Even if you provide them, then they will say, oh, this, oh, this. Mothers know everything. When the kids, say, and what to speak of those who are of specific style of eating, whatever it is. But the stomach is not allowing them. All right? Of course, we can go so much in detail about this mechanism. It is very funny, interesting, and it is straight. Even they want to eat anything and everything. What animals are given their natural diet, they want to eat. And they want to mess up with their own internal systems. They are not afraid. Men will violate. They say about Australians, I don't know, New Zealanders are not, traveling that much. But the Australians are so much interested. Generally, they go to China and other places where anything that walks, they want to eat. Anything that moves, they want to eat. In China, everything is available. Here also, there are so many videos and other things they have been describing. They go and catch rattlesnake and chop it and skin off and eat. Go to California or even in the deserts of Arizona. They make a special camps at night time. Hundreds of snakes will be chopped out. And in Thailand, Vietnam, and all other places, this system has been there. Anything that crawls, they will eat. Yucky, isn't it? So, his stomach is not going to be satisfied. So then it's called Arvat Strotram to Navamam. This is our peculiarity. Rajodika. The mode of passion is so much extra embedded in the human form of life that they become hyperactive. Kids are hyperactive. They run around anywhere and everywhere. As soon as they got their legs to walk, mothers have to run after. Right? Hyperactive. So, that is called karma para. And dukkhecha sukhamatra. Even though they are surrounded by miseries, means hard struggle for existence, they are looking for sukha, means bodily happiness. How many receptors are in our body and how many pleasure receptors are on our body? Mostly it is pain receptors.
Receptors are more.
Huh?
Pain receptors are more.
More. means out of proportion. It depends upon touch. If you touch a little bit, but the same pain receptor,
Pleasure is
no, pleasure receptor will also turn into pain receptor. So, we are very peculiar out of this animal kingdom, Homo sapiens, but now man is made in the image of God, so he must take the advantage of understanding. An image is always opposite, but nonetheless it gives you some kind of idea, God is not a human being. He is not a Homo sapiens. But he can appear in any form. But constitution will not be like ours. The bodily constitution is called Satchidananda and bliss. These are the three factors which are very distinguishable from the ignorant people or anything that is material in nature. We have to cultivate this because the soul is part and parcel, qualitatively one with the whole. It must inherit that Satchitananda. So rest assured, for the real us, there is no death, nor birth. Na jayate na mriyate. Kadachit means at any time. Bhutva bhavita manabhuya. That he was there before and now he disappeared and again he reappeared. No. Ajo nityam. Aja means unborn. Nityam means eternally. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Even if the body is killed, he will not be killed. That relationship Krishna has with his parts and parcel. He is the Father. So, when we develop the sensitivity to follow his desires, that means we are on the path of devotion service. And that is not only liberating us by understanding the purpose of our coming into this species of life. We may have gone through so many species of life before according to our desires at the time of death. But for human being and that to the piety and understandable humans, they are accepting some kind of through their own heart, but it is not all of a sudden happening. It is happening because of some meritorious activities in previous life. So, thank you for welcoming us. And this is the reality that everybody's heart is throbbing with the love of the Lord. This is the ultimate, the target we have to attain within this lifetime. So, mamupitya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. If we reach into the supreme abode where he lives in his transcendental body, because we also have realized our transcendental body, we are in same of it. But to get into that process of transcendence, we have to follow his path chalked out for us, for all human beings. So Bhagavad Gita is a song of God. He is inviting us because he feels separation from his part and parcel. Just like we are given example that if our relative passes away, we'll feel separation, but it is temporary. The Lord has been also feeling a father, the grandson, the father of the fathers, whom we are part and parcel. must be feeling very deep separation. And it's that subject matter of understanding, realizing, and applying. Our life will be successful. So, anybody has any question? Please study Bhagavad Gita, one verse a day. Sit together.
Thank you, Maharaj, again for coming and blessing us with your presence.
Yes, to inspire you. To, because it's non-sectarian. I'm not bringing an imposed Hinduism on them. No way. Even Hinduism is not a word given in Bhagavad Gita, nor in any of our scriptures. It is a misnomer, imposed by the Arabs who tried to invade there in the beginning. They call the river Sindhu as Hindu. Because that's that Sindhu River is the bed of cradle of civilization, according to the modern times. It's not that it's Aryan invasion and wrong philosophies that were done by the Britishers. Yeah? And insect satellite, all the imaging also proves that. And so many relics are coming out to understand this 5,000-year-old civilization.